Hi, I'm Rob Stewart. KVIE Public Television has a long history of celebrating the visual arts. Through our programming, we introduce you to both new and established artists who inspire us with their incredible talents. Welcome to Arts in Northern California. It's a conversation about the importance of arts in our community and in our lives. Today we welcome D. Oldham Neath, co-founder of Sacramento's Second Saturday and owner of Archival Gallery and Framing. Kim Scott, native Sacramento artist exhibiting internationally, who teaches art to children and adults with developmental challenges and so much more. And Jeff Musser, Sacramento artist with a degree from the School of Art Institute of Chicago. Jeff exhibits internationally with his recent group shows in Italy and Germany. Welcome, everybody.
Hi,
yeah,
glad to be here.
Good to see you, and this is such a wonderful topic, arts in Northern California. We're honored that all three of you are here. Dee, I want to start with you because we were talking about the importance of arts programming, especially when it comes to the schools. We're seeing so many programs cut in schools, which make arts programming so much more.
I think what makes me very sad is we all go by our own experience, and art, it was music for me, saved my life, it felt like at that age in school, and it gave me a reason to want to be at school every day. And with the visual arts and the performing arts being cut in schools, more and more students are having to turn to places like PBS to find out about art, to learn how to draw, you know, to see what a professional artist does. You know, Kim works in the community, and she can certainly speak to what's been going on as far as that goes.
You know, Kim, and I want to pick up on something that you said, Dee, because you told me that you have seen time and time again where art has actually saved or changed or redirected someone's life.
So much so. Speaking for myself, nothing turned me on that much mentally, didn't turn on my imagination in school really until I was exposed to the arts. And then everything became alive for me. In fact, I was pretty much afraid that I was going to have to go into some career that didn't have to do with the arts. I thought, I'm going to fail. I don't know what I'm going to do if I'm not in this field, because it means so much to me personally. And I've worked with people with disabilities, and not, who are visual learners predominantly. And when they are exposed to the arts and they are allowed to create and contribute to our community through that language, there's nothing like it. The eyes just light up. And life has meaning.
You know, Jeff, we were talking right before we went live, and I overheard you say something that really stuck with me. You said that when you were a kid and you were passionate about, because you're a painter, passionate about art, that your parents encouraged you from the very beginning to stay with your dreams.
That's very true, and I feel that I'm similar to Kim in that way, where in school I've sometimes felt lost, but art always sort of brought me back to the center, and I was always drawn. I did baseball, and I had friends, video games, and normal things, but I was always drawn. And my parents, they never told me it was stupid. They never discouraged me. They never said, you know, get a real job someday. Whereas I had friends where, okay, you know, such and such plays an instrument now, but eventually he's going to have to get a job because, you know, you can't make a living doing that. And I felt very, 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 very fortunate, and still do.
So with the current state that we're seeing of the arts, you know, with budget cuts, with cutbacks, unfortunately, the arts are one of the first things to go.
Yeah.
I know that must make each of you just cringe.
It hurts, literally. It literally hurts.
I feel sorry. I worry about the next generation. You know,
it's that serious.
It's that serious, and we have lots of programming on PBS. And what I recently discovered, because my son is grown, is that there's a whole thing, pbskids.org, where you can learn how to make Play-Doh, which I was kind of excited about. But you know, without outreach programs, like Kim, for instance, did the Artist in Residence at the State Fair, where children can see working artists. You know, they used to see working artists when they went to school.
You know, and that's a very valid point, because, you know, you said you got a recognition at a very young age, and that stuck with you. And to this day, tell us that story. It was Wayne Thiebaud who encouraged you.
When I was 10 or 11, I was in the Town and Country Village Fair, art fair.
It still goes on today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mother was an artist, and she actually took me to art show openings, and I just saw a little bit of the real working world of the arts from a fairly early age. And so I went to that, and her and I showed side by side, so it was like, it was a real job, because I had an example with my mom. And Wayne Thiebaud was the judge, and he came by and he looked at my work, and he picked a piece up and he took it very seriously. I don't really know if the art merited that, but he could see something in me that, you know, he appreciated that a young person was into the arts. So it gave me an honorable mention, and it just dazzled me, really. I knew who he was from my mother's conversation, and that changed the course of my life in some ways, was the recognition for that budding skill of mine and passion of mine by somebody who I really, you know, recognized as an authority and somebody who was so talented. And later on, I actually saw him many years later, and I went up to him and I said, you know, you gave me an honorable mention when I was 10, and I'm still making art today. And he was like, you know, you could tell it was like, okay, I've converted another one.
Mission accomplished.
Great. And so I like doing that too, being the Pied Piper with young people that are interested in the arts. You can tell when somebody's turned on by the arts.
Oh yes, you can see it.
You physically see the change in their face, and there's just nothing.
Well,
there's nothing really like it.
And all it takes is a little bit of encouragement from an adult. You know, take your kid to a gallery, take them to the Crocker. The Crocker has a really nice children's art program. I know artists that have just started teaching the little boy up the street how to draw, or running classes at the rec center. I think that it's important that parents look for ways to expose their children to art.
Like yours did.
Yes.
Art is not frivolous. I think it's a big mistake for a lot of reasons, taking art out of the education system. As a culture, we do have a tendency to kind of make fun of artists and to think of them as wacky, fringe job, you know, people.
Starving.
But honestly, art can be a gateway towards other creative activities, including invention, in the sciences, in math. I've heard many stories about people that started out in the arts, and it set their mind in a certain way that when they came across other areas, anthropology, history, that it lit it up for them, that they learned more because of their art, and they were more open to the broader meaning of things because of art.
Which leads me to my next point, because we all met earlier to discuss the topics of what we were going to talk about, and one of the things that all of you were so passionate about is the concept of a life without art. What would that life be like? I mean, if you think about it,
it would be incredibly boring. And I think one of the things that factors into why art is just sort of brushed off in America, it's because somehow in America, if it doesn't make money, or you don't see results immediately, it's not worth doing. And art is one of those things that it takes time and may never happen.
In your lifetime.
Or your lifetime.
There's a maturation process to it.
It takes
has
people,
to evolve.
And sometimes it's not supposed to make you comfortable. You're not supposed to like it. And people have a problem with that. If it can't be easily digested, then they don't want to even
it's not
deal
always
with
a
it.
pretty picture.
No.
Sometimes it's something that really jars you or really makes you think. And that harkens back to what Kim was saying. You know, people, I think, forget about that we are visual creatures. You know, we look back in history, and the reason why the Greeks are famous or, you know, certain civilizations live on is through their artwork.
Well, and if you also look back, every era can be defined and then represented through the art of that time. And you can go back and you can look at that art from whatever era.
And instantly know what was going on in that culture. It's the barometer for whatever was going on.
Oh, I like that.
In that culture or that country at that time.
Well, we were trying to describe what would it be like to live a life without art, and I said something like we'd be living in an unadorned natural cave, eating a piece of raw meat, naked. And Dee said, well, you know, you have to design a spear to get the meat. So it's like, oh,
exactly.
You'd be eating a corpse that died of old age in a cave.
Don't know. Yeah, it's the basis for all creation. I mean, you know, it even visual art even overlays into music, and we were discussing that earlier before we came on. You know, what you see when you hear music.
You don't have to be a working studio artist to benefit from the arts at all.
Oh,
it
good
helps your
point.
mind in so many ways.
Well, it's one of the things that you can do where you can completely shut down, disconnect, and self-express and create, no matter what area you're going through in life, whether you're going through a rough period, whether you're going through a great period, and all that shows in the artwork. We've got a lot to talk about. You guys are a fun group. Hang with us because we'll be back with more of Arts in Northern California in just a moment. But please, now we have a message from Heath Buckmaster joining us in our Studio A. Heath?
Thank you, Rob. We are so glad that you are joining us today for this special Arts in Northern California. We're here with you for just a short period of time because we want to talk about the value of arts in our community. This is really the only place on television that you can go to hear this type of conversation with artists in our community. And I again want to thank you for taking time to be with us today. The importance of art in our community is exactly what we're here for, and it's right here on public television. When you make a financial contribution to your local PBS station, that's KVIE, you are enabling discussions just like this one. You're making it possible for programs like KVIE's Arts Alive, Arts in the 21st Century, and even the Bob Ross series, which entertains us and inspires us. Each of these programs presents a unique view into the world of visual arts, and they're all made possible through your financial contributions. Now, it takes just a few minutes of your time to enable a year's worth of programs on KVIE. And as always, we have some excellent thank you gifts that you can select from when you call in with your support. When you call in now and make a donation of just $100, and that's just $10 a month for everything you see on KVIE, then we have a very special gift package to offer you. First, you'll receive a limited edition Gregory Kondos print, River House, made exclusively for our donors. You'll also receive a DVD of the KVIE local production of Arts Alive, Legacy Artists. Plus, you'll receive 2 tickets to our annual Art Auction Preview Gala. This is a black tie optional wine and food celebration that unveils our annual art collection. The Preview Gala is on Monday, September 24th, and it's presented by KVIE and the Amador Vintners Association. This event features great food from local restaurants and wine from a variety of Amador vintners, plus the ability to interact with over 250 KVIE artists and see their creations on display. Or perhaps a $60 contribution in support of the arts on PBS is more in line with your budget. Then we'll thank you with the limited edition Gregory Kondos print, River House, and the KVIE Arts Alive DVD. This Kondos print is a limited edition printed on archival paper, and it is suitable for framing and display wherever you want to appreciate great art. But no matter what you contribute, whether it's $10 a month, $100 a month, or more, every dollar goes to making sure that you can enjoy the next great travel program, the next important news story, and the next inspirational art education show. So why not call right now? Make a donation. 1-800-270-6601 is the number to call. You'll feel great, we'll feel great, and you can pick up tickets to the Preview Gala. It's an exciting way to spend an evening. You can get dressed up, enjoy tastings from the Amador wineries, food from local restaurants, and experience the unveiling of the 2012 collection. And while you're enjoying the food and wine, you'll also have the opportunity to meet and talk to the artists who have generously donated their work in support of public television. So do your part to keep the arts alive on KVIE. And now it's time for us to get back to the conversation with KVIE's Rob Stewart and our very special guests.
They are very special guests. Thank you so much, Heath. And we are joined in the studio by Dee Oldham Neath, Kim Scott, and Jeff Musser. Good to see all of you again.
Hello.
And Dee, I mentioned earlier in the program that you were the founder of Second Saturday.
I'm one of the founders.
One of the founders.
We were one of the galleries that helped start it, and it's gotten a little busy. When we first started it, yeah, it's gotten quite large. We actually took the idea from me and Michael Hemovitz stole the idea from Portland.
That's okay.
They had like a second Thursday or something that they did. What I like about it to go back to the roots of what Second Saturday really is that it encourages people to come out and view art that might have been uncomfortable or thought that it was something that was only for educated people or for people that were actually going to buy art. It's something to start a conversation. It's a great way. Take your family out Second Saturday, look at a couple galleries, and it'll give you something to talk about all week.
Mm-hmm. You know, and you mentioned to me, taking off of what you're talking about with the artists at Second Saturday, as that this area is booming with in-residence artists, particularly because of the richness of the nature that we have.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of reasons why artists have settled here, and there's different genres of art being made here, but definitely there's a lot of nature painters here. We've got the Two Rivers, we've got the foothills. There's a history of nature painting from here back from the 1800s. And there's some great teachers here too, so that has attracted people here. Also, I think the teachers, they're the heroes, really. There have been so many great teachers here. They're the photorealists, and so that has influenced how people paint here.
California funk.
California funk, the funk movement.
My favorite.
And you also mentioned that painting never died here. While it may have died in other places and come back, it never died in Sacramento.
Well, I remember hearing on the La-Di-Da magazines or whatever, oh, painting is dead, and I'm thinking, who have they been talking to?
Where are they writing this?
Sacramento painting was never dead. It was like going hardcore, and it maybe had to go underground a little and but the painting continued here, and so now that painting is not dead anymore. Out on the other side, there are just these skilled painters here, really good, that just worked.
Well, what happened when you went to Chicago as a painter?
Painting wasn't dead. There was a certain genre of painting that people thought was dead, and they tried to sort of push me in that direction. I said, no, I'm going to do what I want. And when I heard that painting was dead and I would read about it, this painting never really died. It's just certain people that were tastemakers just didn't think it was cool anymore. But that never stopped the artist from painting and continuing to push painting forward.
And both of you have shown internationally. Where do you think Northern California stands when it comes to the rest of the world, to the quality of art?
Number one.
Yeah.
California in general, and Northern California.
And you really mean that?
I really mean that.
Yes, okay.
I mean, I'm really biased because of the genre of painting that I'm kind of involved in. It's all about California. It's Southern California, but it's also Northern California.
Yeah. I think that...
you hear this at your gallery?
Yeah. Well, and, there's that. We have... we're second only in artists per capita to Manhattan.
Now say that again. That's an important point.
We are second in artists per capita to Manhattan.
To New York City.
Yeah.
Wow.
Particularly Manhattan. Oakland is breathing down our necks right now. So, but a lot of artists settle here because we have the San Francisco influence, we have the LA influence,
Davis,
and and then you've got
and Tahoe.
You've got plein air painters, you've got people that do super traditional work, and then you have amazing things like the whole funk movement that just blew out of Davis and is still copied around the world, but it grew from, it came from California.
And it's so easy to live here. I mean, compared to New York or San Francisco, the cost of a fairly spacious apartment in a
and we have good studios.
Yeah, in a hip area.
You don't need a roommate.
Yeah, you don't need a roommate or two or three. You don't have to maintain 3 or 4 jobs just to maintain an apartment and a studio. You can have one or the other, and I'm like a lot of people. I just paint.
Well, the studio situation's good around here. I mean, like the Verge Center for the Arts has set up all these artist studio places. Kim worked with the Surreal Estate thing out on Del Paso Boulevard, which gave everybody great studio
and that's
space.
an important thing about having access to being able to do your craft. You've all mentioned to me that you wear many hats in the art world and that you have to be willing to be flexible and a jack of all trades, to borrow your words, to live your dream. Would you agree?
Yes, very, very much so. You have to be flexible because we all do stuff that we have to do in order to live, and then there's work that's our work that's much more personal, and sometimes you have to take on an illustration job. I did one a couple months ago that we don't have time to go into on the air, but it would make everyone laugh and cry that I actually had to do this type of job. But
it's a paycheck.
But it was better than washing dishes or working in an office where I'm stuck behind a computer all day.
Yeah, you're still using your hands
Yeah,
and
I'm
creating
still
something.
painting. It's not what I want to paint, but still a painting. And
Oh, tell us what it is.
It's a commission. It's a commission. What is it? You brought it up.
all
man.
right, someone wanted a painting that was
You are mean.
a theme from the movie Dirty Dancing.
Well, you know what? That whatever floats your boat.
You know, and they loved it, and I loathed doing it. But you know what?
Oh.
It made them happy, and it was a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, we hear about all the famous crazy artists at the top, you know, cutting their ears off and peeing in the fireplace. Oops.
Yeah.
And, you know, all that, I mean, those are all the art stories, right, that sort of make it into the mainstream of the crazy artists who are making, you know, $500,000, $1 million, you know, $60 million on a painting. But generally, the vast majority of artists are working class. They go and they work in they're lucky they have a studio, or they have a garage, or if they're, you know, they work in their living room or their spare bedroom. And they're driven not by the money, although it'd be awfully nice to get some money now and then to support your habit. But really, it's important, personally important work. And a lot of these people are showing all over the place, too.
Well, let me ask you this. Is art something that can be taught, or are you born with the gift?
Wow, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
My husband just took a drawing lesson for the first time because he lost a bet. And he was going to have to draw somebody's portrait. And he took it from David Lobenberg, who you know, who did a lovely portrait of you. And David Lobenberg is of the ilk, and so am I, that anybody can learn to draw. But it's the idea of being able to think it up. You know, you look at an abstract piece of work and you think, oh, well, that's a very simple form. I could do that, but could you think it up?
Can anybody do heart surgery? Maybe. If you were given enough instruction, you could. But I think you need to have some passion to keep you moving through those times where it's boring, it's expensive, it's lonely. You know, you have to have some kind of drive.
And training and teaching.
And training. There are people that are self-trained, and there are people that are trained academically. And both of them can be driven and make fantastic work. So.
Yeah, and
that's the part that you're born with, the passion to keep doing it no matter what happens in your life, no matter what you go through, no matter what path it may take you. You may start as a painter and end up as a ceramicist, but it's the drive.
And to me, it's like it's an inner voice. It's just like an opera singer. There are people that are born with a beautiful voice. If you're going to be in the opera, you have to be trained. You can also teach just about anybody to sing on key, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be an opera singer.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So I look at it like it's just a different type of inner voice that you're blessed with or you're not.
The stars of art, of any kind of art, have the capacity to reflect who we are as a viewer.
Interesting.
You know, they turn something on in the viewer's head. And not everybody can do that. And it takes a lot of drive and trial and error and brilliance if we're lucky.
And it's not all starving. I mean, in Sacramento, Mel Ramos was born in Sacramento. Lives in the Oakland area now, so we lost that one in our count. But but he just recently sold a painting last week for like $1.8 million.
Wow.
And it's during his lifetime, so things are changing.
That's not starving.
And it used to be where an artist didn't come in to really fame and a lot of money being paid for their work till after they passed.
Till they were gone.
And that's sort of starting to fall by the wayside, which I'm kind of enjoying.
That's very
very
interesting.
It's very encouraging.
So as we don't have too much time left, but I think it's important to end on an inspirational note because each of you was inspired by someone. We have 1 minute. From each of you, what would you say encouraging to a young artist out there or a grown artist who's struggling to not give up? Start with you.
You know, each of us have a vision that's important to contribute to our community. And if art is the way for you to contribute that, then please do it for me. Do it for me, do it for everybody else in our community, for our culture.
How about you?
I would say that, wow, that's tough, but...
I guess to be inspired like you were. Your parents didn't give up.
They never gave up. Well, I never gave up either. And I never wanted to look back at my life, because they told me early on, we did what we had to do to make sure that you had a life. So I would never want to look back on my life saying, well, I wanted to be an artist, but I didn't do it, or I wanted to be a musician.
We've got 5 seconds left
in
this break. Dee, quickly.
I'm on the other person's side. If you haven't been to an art gallery, or your child hasn't been in an art gallery, take them out to see some art and get the dialogue started.
Awesome. And this has been a fantastic dialogue, too. Thank each of you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
So good to see you, absolutely. And all of you are wonderful. Dee Neath, Kim Scott, and Jeff Musser. Good to see you. Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching and supporting arts programming on KVIE Public Television. We're the only place on the dial where you can consistently turn for inspiration and education for your entire family, by the way. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting your local PBS station.
Did you enjoy today's conversation, and did you learn something you might not have known about the arts community of Northern California? Hi, I'm Heath Buckmaster, and this program is one of the many personal benefits you get when you tune in to KVIE. Now, you might be a fan of Donna Dewberry or Jerry Yarnell. You might be an educator using art in the 21st century in your classroom, or you might be one of so many viewers who just find it inspirational and relaxing to watch Bob Ross paint his happy little trees. No matter which of these programs brings you joy, the only reason they exist is because viewers have called in to make a donation of support for the arts, and you can be one of those people right now. When you make a tax-deductible donation to KVIE Public Television in support of the arts, we have some very exciting thank you gift packages that you can select from. The first gift package we've put together for you today is our thanks for a contribution of $100. You'll receive a limited edition Gregory Kondos print River House, a DVD of the KVIE production Arts Alive, Legacy Artists, featuring local celebrities, Gregory Kondos, Wayne Thiebaud, and more. Plus, you'll receive 2 tickets to KVIE's annual Art Auction Preview Gala, one of the best wine, food, and art parties you will ever come to. The Preview Gala is Monday, September 24th, and it's sponsored by KVIE and the Amador Vintners Association. Now, tickets are normally $50 each, so this is truly a great opportunity to support KVIE and the arts and get a great deal on attending a great party. You'll be able to mix and mingle with contributing artists while you sample Amador wines and delicious food from area restaurants. It's a do-not-miss event in Northern California, and you need to be there. Now, if you can't attend the Preview Gala, but you still feel that it's important to support the arts on public television, then consider a donation of $60. We'll thank you with a copy of KVIE Arts Alive DVD and that limited edition Gregory Kondos print. Now, this print was created exclusively for KVIE, and it will look great framed on the wall of your home. And the Arts Alive DVD makes a great inspirational and educational tool for you and your family, especially if you have a child or grandchild interested in art. We know you have a choice of channels to watch on television, and an even more important choice of where to spend your charitable dollars. Wouldn't you rather those dollars go to support your local PBS station? A place you can consistently turn to find engaging programming like today's Arts in Northern California Roundtable, because you won't find this programming anywhere else, and I think that's worth your support. And today you can take advantage of some great thank you gift packages as well, like that mixing and mingling with Northern California's premier artists and sampling food and wine. The point is, show your support now. Call the number on your screen. Be more artistic with KVIE Public Television. Thanks for watching.
KVIE would like to thank our phone bank volunteers for donating their time to KVIE.
Music Circus, a Sacramento summer tradition since 1951.
Truly is something that our family does and has done for years, and I look forward to it going on for many generations to come.
It's become a tradition for me and my husband. We go on Saturday nights, so it's perfect, again, for a date night.
Don't miss Disney's The Little Mermaid, July 10th through 22nd. Follow Ariel on her fascinating journey. The Little Mermaid.
Visit SacramentoMusicCircus.com.
Dr. Joel Furman is a board-certified physician whose groundbreaking work has been acclaimed as a medical breakthrough for weight loss, disease reversal, and prevention.
You don't have to have a heart attack when you get older.
He's a best-selling author and a widely published nutritional researcher.
I'm wishing you a long and pleasurable life. It can be yours.
Join Dr. Joel Furman